What's left when the fire inside you goes out? When the music stops and the crowd goes home? When it's cold and dark in the morning and you don't even know why you started? What do you do then? That is where discipline begins. Not when you're winning, not when you're feeling pumped up, but in the quiet after all the noise is gone. The great swordsman Musashi walked alone, not because he hated people, but because he understood something most people are afraid to accept. The path to becoming a master isn't lit up by motivation. It's carved in the dark with the sharp blade of discipline. He wrote his books not for praise or to be famous. He wrote them the same way he fought, with focus, with care, and with a mind sharper than any sword. And in everything he taught, there's a truth most people avoid. Strength isn't found in a feeling. It's found in a choice you make, even when you feel nothing at all. The plum blossom blooms in the middle of winter. No one asks it to. No one is watching. It doesn't care about applause. You have to be like that. You have to grow when things are hard, when no one is watching, when no one cares, and when even you start to forget why you began. Because that is when your discipline is truly built, not just talked about. You think you need motivation to act. That's a lie. That's the little voice that whispers, wait until you feel ready. But a warrior doesn't wait. He moves, not because he feels like it, but because he said he would. Musashi knew this. He faced men with swords, with death breathing down his neck, and he stayed calm. Not because he wasn't afraid, but because he had trained his spirit to listen to his commands, not his emotions. He killed the part of himself that begged to be comfortable. You have to understand this now. You don't get up when you feel like it. You get up when you decide that feelings don't run your life anymore. A bear survives the winter not by running from the cold, but by going right into it. Its strength doesn't disappear, it just waits. Quiet, strong, and alone. Your willpower must become like that. Motivation is like a nice smell in the spring. Discipline is the root of the tree that survives the winter freeze. Every morning you wake up and that voice comes back. I'm tired. Not today. Maybe later. That voice isn't you, it's the weak part of you still trying to get you to be soft. It has no power over you unless you answer it. A sword doesn't ask for permission to strike, it just moves, and so must you. The path you want is not paved with good feelings, it's paved with your own commands. Your word to yourself must be law. Not a suggestion, not a maybe. A law. One that you obey without question. That is what discipline is. Obeying the person you promised yourself you would become. When Musashi trained, he was alone in fields, on mountains, by rivers. He listened to the wind and the silence. He watched how a heron didn't rush but struck only when the moment was right. He saw how the snow came without an announcement but changed everything. He learned from being still, and then he moved with purpose. No drama, no delay. You wait to feel fired up. He built his life in the cold. You wait for things to be clear. He acted in the middle of the fog. This is your test. Not if you can do it when it feels good, but if you can do it when everything inside you is screaming, don't. If you fail here, you will fail everywhere. Because the world doesn't care about your feelings. It rewards the person who moves forward without needing to be pushed or praised. It bows to the person who doesn't need to be inspired because he creates his own fire. Musashi wrote, "You can only fight the way you practice." So ask yourself right now, are you practicing waiting or are you practicing moving? Every time you delay, you are teaching yourself to hesitate. Every time you back down, you are making yourself dull. Every time you make an excuse, you are stepping off the path. But every time you act, no matter how you feel, you become stronger, steadier, and harder to shake. That is how discipline stops being something you do and becomes who you are. A wolf doesn't howl to be heard. It howls because it's time. The wind doesn't ask the mountain for permission. It carves its own path through stone. A warrior doesn't wait for energy. He moves and the energy comes back to him. You do not need to feel it to do it. You only need to decide. And once you have decided, do not look back. Not for rain, not for pain, not for being tired or confused or full of doubt. You keep walking because you said you would, because the path demands it, because this is who you are now. The world will forget the man who only acted when it was easy, but it will never forget the one who stood up when it was hardest. That is what you must become. That is where it all begins. You don't train for today. You train for the moment when today falls apart. When the weather changes, when your body hurts, when nothing goes right, that is when you find out who the real warrior is. Musashi didn't just prepare for perfect fights. He trained in forests and fought on boats. He learned to adapt in back alleys and on muddy riverbanks using sticks, rocks, or just his bare hands. Because he knew the enemy isn't the person in front of you. The enemy is the situation you expected that didn't happen. And so he taught, expect nothing. Be ready for everything. That is discipline. A hawk doesn't complain when the wind pushes against it. It just flies higher. It makes its attack sharper. It becomes one with the thing that is trying to stop it. You are not here to be carried by the wind. You are here to cut through it. Your habits are your weapon. Your focus is its sharp edge. And every time you practice, you get sharper. You will be tempted to be soft, to sleep in, to put things off, to say just this once. But you must know, every just this once is a small death. It's the death of the person you promised you would become. Musashi said, do nothing that is not useful. What good is a thought you never act on? What good is a dream you don't train for? What good is motivation if you quit at the first sign of a struggle? A goal without action is just a fantasy, and your mind, when you don't control it, becomes a home for weakness. Discipline is the sword that cuts through all that junk. Every action clears your mind, every effort builds clarity. And slowly, a path appears where there was once only noise. You are not meant to be at your best all year round. You are meant to be tough, to build in the quiet, to come back stronger. Not because life made it easy for you, but because you refused to break when it was hard. Look at your own life. Look at the places where comfort has kept you from acting, where softness has whispered, you've done enough, and where taking the easy way has made you weak. You don't need more time. You need fewer excuses. You need to stop negotiating with the weaker part of yourself. You say, I want to be disciplined. Then stop wanting and start doing. Let the action shape you. Discipline doesn't talk, it acts. It doesn't shout, it shows up. There will be no reward, no applause when you say no to a distraction, no trophy for doing what you're supposed to do. And that is why it is so important. Because in that quiet, you are building something that no one can see until it is too strong to be ignored. The mountain doesn't announce how tall it is. It just stands there, quiet, huge, and unmoved. Your spirit must become the same, not because it is easy, but because it has to be. Musashi knew that comfort makes you a coward, but struggle makes you a man. He didn't look for the easy way. He mastered the hardest way, the path through himself. He got rid of distractions. He let go of his stuff. He cut ties with people who made him weaker. Not because he hated the world, but because he knew that clarity is a weapon and having too many attachments makes you dull. What are you still holding on to that's slowing you down? Let it go. Let it all drop. And in that empty silence, train. The person who trains in the quiet will move like thunder in chaos. The one who trains without applause will act while others are frozen in fear. The one who trains with discipline will last longer than the man who only trains when he's in the mood. Your power is not in the moment you feel good. It is in the moment you feel bad, and you move anyway. Remember this, motivation is something you borrow. Discipline is something you build. And the man who builds it brick by brick, day by day, will become a fortress. Not because the world gave into him, but because he no longer needed it to. There's a special kind of silence that comes after you've done what needed to be done. Not for praise, not to prove anything, but just because it was time. That silence is the sound of mastery. Not a loud cheer, but a deep calm. Because a warrior doesn't need anyone to watch him. Musashi knew this. He didn't need a reminder to train or to stay on his path. He had become the reminder. His life, his choices, his discipline, each one was like a silent blade held to the throat of laziness. There is no secret path. There is only the one that demands you keep walking long after your legs want to stop. And in that moment, the old you starts to die. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's a daily death. It's a funeral for your comfort zone. It's burying your excuses, and it's being reborn stronger in your own sweat and solitude. You want motivation? Let your failures motivate you. Let the memory of your past weakness push you forward. Let the person you were last week haunt you until your feet start moving without you having to think about it. Because if you keep waiting to feel ready, you will never be strong. You will never be disciplined. You'll just be hoping for good luck and the right moment. But a warrior doesn't wait for the stars to line up. He sharpens his blade in the dark and strikes while the rest of the world is still asleep. The snow leopard hunts alone. It makes no sound. It wastes no energy. It waits. It watches. And when the moment is right, it acts without a second thought. You must become the same. Not wild and desperate, but calm, grounded, and prepared from endless practice. Every day you do the work, you build a muscle. Not just in your body, but in your character, in your soul, in the hidden places where real strength is born. And it will be tested. You will be tempted to cut corners, to take it easy, to let one missed day become two, and then let two become giving up. That is where weak people fall, but not you. You do not move to feel good. You move to become good. You do not train for the spotlight. You train for the darkness that always comes before the light. And when that darkness comes, and it will, you will not panic. You will not question it. You will not look for someone to blame. You will just breathe and act, because you have been here before. Because your habits are stronger than your doubts. Because who you are is no longer up for discussion. This isn't about punishment. It's not about being perfect. It is about power. The kind of power that doesn't shake when the world is falling apart. You want peace? Then build the kind of strength that even silence respects. You want freedom? Then earn it by obeying something higher than your feelings. A code, a rule, a discipline. The same way Musashi lived. Not by chasing comfort, but by choosing clarity again and again, no matter how much it hurt. He said that from one thing, you can know 10,000 things. From discipline, all things are possible, because the man who masters his body will master his mind, and the one who masters both will never be a victim of his circumstances again. The world offers you chaos, you offer it structure. The world offers you excuses, you offer it silence. The world offers you distraction, you offer it focus so sharp it could cut glass. And when you fall, and you will fall forward, fall with your hands still reaching. Fall with your eyes still on the path, then get up and move again. Discipline is not about never falling, it's about never staying down. It's the choice made 1,000 times in the quiet of your own mind to get back up, to continue, to rise when no one is watching, to act when nothing is pushing you but your own word. That is your weapon. And it gets sharper every time you choose it over comfort. You must stop thinking that being comfortable is a good thing. There is no power on the easy path. A wolf gets strong not in the safe valley, but up on the ridge where the wind is sharp and the prey is fast. That is where you get tough. That is where discipline becomes about survival. And you are not here to be kept warm. You are here to walk into the storm and not even flinch. Musashi lived on the edge of death. Not for the thrill, but because only there could he feel the truth. That life is short, and discipline is the only way to not waste it. He woke up with the sun, not to be productive, but to be present. He trained not to impress anyone, but to make his spirit unbeatable. He let go of comfort so he could hold on to clarity with both hands. You don't need to scream about your goals. A mountain doesn't explain itself, it just exists. And the world moves around it. Be the same. Let your actions be louder than your words. Let your daily practice do the shouting. Let your habits make you impossible to deny. You say, I'm tired? Good. That means it's working. I'm sore? Good. Then your body is waking up. I don't want to. Good. Then this is exactly what you must do. Discipline is the process of killing the liar inside you, the one that says you've done enough, the one that says you deserve a break before you've earned it. It whispers and its voice is sweet, but the disciplined mind hears it and doesn't even pause, it just keeps moving. A river doesn't ask for permission to flow. It moves through rock and through time. It doesn't need to feel ready, it just follows its path. You must do the same. Let other people wait for a sign, for an easy break, for praise. You just walk, not because the path is lit up or easy, but because it's yours. The samurai knew that to hesitate is to die. Your battlefield might not have swords, but it is still full of weapons, your phone, your comfort zone, your habit of delaying, your self-doubt. These are the weapons that kill your potential quietly without leaving a scratch. You want freedom? Then control the things that control most people. Control your impulses. Say no when others say yes. Say yes when fear tells you no. And most of the time, say nothing. Just act. Real strength isn't talked about, it's built. And those who build it every day in private without stopping become like storms in human form. When Musashi walked, he didn't look back. He left behind every excuse, every comfort that made his focus blurry. He walked with empty hands because empty hands have more room to grab what's important. What are you holding that's making your hands too full? Drop it. Let it burn. Let people call you crazy. Let them misunderstand your silence and your discipline. And when they are sleeping, you are sharpening your skills. When they are resting, you are rising. When they are breaking, you are breathing. Because discipline is not about becoming a superhero. It is the act of becoming fully yourself, with nothing in the way. No delay, no lies, no stories. Only action. There will come a day when no one is watching. No camera, no clock, no one to praise you. It will be just you and the choice, to move or not to move. That day is the real test, not a competition or a big speech. Just that quiet hour when quitting would make sense to anyone else, but not to you. That is where warriors are made. Musashi walked that path alone, not as a punishment, but to make himself pure. Because being alone strips away all the lies. It forces you to meet yourself with no mask and no noise. And when you have no one left to impress, you find out what really moves you. If the answer is applause, you will fail. If it's comfort, you will retreat. If it's motivation, you will wait forever. But if the answer is discipline, you will rise. Again and again and again. There's no trophy for waking up early in the cold. There's only your own breath and the sound of your own footsteps. But those steps are building something, not muscle, not fame. They are building control. Every time you act when you don't feel like it, you become your own master. Not the master of other people, but of the most dangerous person you will ever face, yourself. The disciplined man doesn't try to conquer the world. He tries to conquer the storm inside himself. And when he does that, the world gives in. Nature respects discipline. A snake waits without getting anxious. A falcon dives without doubting itself. A tree grows in silence toward a light it can't even see. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't brag. It doesn't post online. It just is. And that is why no one can ever take it from you. They can take your money, lock your doors, and silence your voice. But if you have built discipline inside you, they can never break you. Musashi said the only reason a warrior is alive is to fight, and the only reason he fights is to win. The first battle is always inside you. It's between the part of you that wants an easy life and the part of you that wants to be great. One of them has to die. You cannot keep them both. So kill your comfort. Let it bleed. Let it scream. Let it beg you to stop, and do not flinch. The comfort you are protecting is the cage you are living in. The moment you stop guarding it, you will be free. This world was not built for the weak. It was carved by people who acted without applause, who walked alone, who did the work when no one was watching. That is your history. That is your job. Forget motivation. Forget the speeches, forget the crowd. Build a discipline so fierce that when everything else fails, you are still standing, like a black bear deep in the winter. Still quiet, breathing in the dark. unseen but very much alive. And when spring comes, it comes out leaner, stronger, and ready. You must become that. Not through hype, but through hunger, through action, through refusing to be anything less than what you said you would become. There are no shortcuts, no hacks, no magic. There is only the choice you make today. And again tomorrow. There is no finish line for a warrior, no moment where the work is all done. No amount of praise is loud enough to silence the voice inside that says, there is more to do. Because discipline is not a phase you go through, it's a way of life. It's a promise you make to yourself every single morning. With no ceremony, no audience, and no excuses. You rise because you said you would. You move because you are not your feelings. You keep going because weakness has no place here anymore. Musashi walked this path alone, through blood, silence, and snow. He didn't wait for people to understand him. He walked the path and let his actions do the talking. His strength was not built in moments of joy. It was built in moments of choice. And a choice, when you make it over and over, becomes your character. And your character, when it is sharpened, becomes your destiny. This is how you become unstoppable. Not by force, but by refusal. The refusal to stop. The refusal to compromise. The refusal to betray the person you are becoming just to make the person you used to be feel comfortable. You will never be 100% ready. You will never be 100% healed. You will never be 100% understood. That is why you must act anyway. Discipline doesn't ask for perfect weather. It creates its own weather through action. The rain falls, the wind howls, the path is dark. Still you walk. Because you are not committed to being comfortable. You are committed to becoming a master. And mastery lives on the other side of your excuses. A fox hunts not when it's easy, but when it's hungry. A storm doesn't run for cover. It becomes the whole sky. A blade doesn't ask if the time is right. It strikes when it's ready. You must become the same. Not hard just to be hard, but unbreakable, because the world bows to those who do not bend. You want peace? Earn it through struggle. You want clarity? Find it in practice. You want power? Forge it in the fire of your own self-doubt and then walk through that fire without flinching. Discipline is the ultimate weapon. It can't be given to you, it can't be bought, and it can't be faked. It is only earned. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one quiet moment at a time. And when the world finally looks at you, they will say, he's gifted, he's different, he's lucky. Let them say it. You will know the truth. You were not gifted. You were not lucky. You were just consistent for longer than they were willing to be. This is the path. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care what you lost. It doesn't care what other people think. It only cares about one thing. Did you show up today? Musashi lived by a code, not one written down, but one lived out in blood, dirt, and sweat. And when he died on his feet with his sword still in his hand and his eyes still open. That is how I want you to live. Like nothing can move you. Like no voice can pull you away from your promise. Like no season can stop you from walking. Discipline begins where motivation ends. And in that place, you rise up alone. Unstoppable, unbreakable, unshakable. Because you have become the mountain, not just the man climbing it.